Today's readings on April 27th, Numbers 4, Psalm 38, Song of Solomon 2, and Hebrews chapter 2. We're going to turn to Song of Solomon. Now, we're going to read through all of the chapter, although it's probably one that we could and do it without too much embarrassment. But there are some chapters there that are rather spicy. And what's the point of a book like this? Why did God put it there? And for some, it's just this picture of the church, or Israel as the bride, and God as the groom. But I think that misses, and that ultimately that's true. Like, we are the bride of Christ. That is true. But one of the things when we study Scripture is there's a literal, historical, grammatical aspect to exegesis, to understanding and bringing out the meaning of a text. So it has to mean something to the people who originally heard it in its context, in its day. And so even with poetry like this and a situation like Song of Solomon, there are purposes and meaning that were clear, and then from that we draw application. And all Scripture points to Jesus in some form or fashion, but at its root also there's other things that come out, other topics, and Song of Solomon has some of these other topics having to do with the relationship between a husband and a wife, the courting period or the engagement period leading up to marriage, and the marriage act is referenced, if you will, and what it looks like when they have an argument. And so there's a lot to learn in Song of Solomon. And one day we will teach through that book on a Sunday, and that should be fun. But one little verse we want to just help talk about, and it has application for us in all kinds of situations, especially those that are not married. So, Song of Solomon 2, verse 7. Young woman of Jerusalem, I charge you by the gazelles and the wild does of the field, do not stir up or awaken love until the appropriate time. Now, for someone not married, and we could reasonably apply this to men and women, to not stir up love until the appropriate time, to not bring that side of life, that passion, keep it dormant, keep it asleep until it's needful, till it's the time. Well, I don't know if it will. Listen, if you're a young person, it's there, right? And so you don't have to do things to encourage passion and stirring up love. And especially as you make decisions about who you will spend the rest of your life with, right? That's marriage. And so if it becomes about physical things, it's going to cloud your mind and your judgment, and it's not the appropriate time. And so in married couples, what's the application here? Well, it's appropriate with one another, right? You're free to engage and be happy and in love and passion and all of that goes along with it. But for those not married, the way to avoid a lot of heartache, the way to stay pure, the way to continue just following Jesus is to not waken, not stir up that which needs to not be a part of your life until the appropriate time. And the appropriate time is marriage. And other than that, allow it to remain dormant, allow it to be quiet in your life. And so, till next time, keep growing little by little.